Hey everybody, it's GoblinX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. And today we have the start of Flashback Draft season this month. And our Flashback Draft format is the original Strixhaven, which is a very, very cool one. It has a very unique mechanic that makes the set different to draft than any other set ever. It has the learn and lesson mechanic like we see on our fantastic rare here. So any spell that lets you learn lets you grab a lesson from your sideboard and put it directly into your hand, turning all of your learn spells into these kind of miniature tutor spells where you can grab whatever you need if you've drafted the right lessons throughout the draft. So there's this interesting back and forth where not only are you drafting your main deck when you're drafting Strixhaven, you also need to draft a solid sideboard with some good lessons to pull out at the right time. So it makes things very interesting, and I do enjoy this draft format quite a bit, so I'm happy to hop back into it. But we can start with a very simple pack one, pick one. Gnarled Professor is a great spell. Basically, if you've never drafted Learn and Lesson before, an easy way to think about it is it being a little bit above the power level of like draw a card. So a 4-mana 5/4 trample that draws a card when it enters the battlefield, pretty absurd. An easy pack one, pick one. For pick two now, Elemental Summoning is one of the better lessons. The summoning lessons are hybrid mana, which means that they fit into a lot of different decks. Like obviously this fits into Prismari because it is the Prismari colors, but you can play this in Quandrix, your green-blue decks, and you can play it in Lorehold, your red-white decks. So I think just the decently statted lessons, or the decently statted creature lessons are pretty high picks because they're hybrid cost as well. So we could take that and start heading into maybe Quandrix here off this Gnarled Professor. I'm a really big fan of taking these hybrid creature summoning lessons very highly. So I'm going to take it here over like a reasonable removal spell like Mage Duel, just sticking to the green. Pick number three now, there's another Elemental Summoning. That would be pretty decent. We don't see anything great out of green, just a filler 2-mana 2/2. So that is fine. Elemental Masterpiece was pretty sweet. It's the kind of old version of the... what is it even called? The one in Secrets of Strixhaven that makes 2/3/3 flyers. This one makes 2 4/4s. Yeah, I'm just going to keep it simple here. Grab another Elemental Summoning. Pick number four, what have we here? Field Trip is a nice one. Grab a forest, put it into play, and grab a lesson. Put it into your hand because it has that learn ability. There's also Fractal Summoning to get a gigantic late game creature off of your learn spells. There's a Cram Session, which, again, just based on how powerful learn and the lessons have ended up being, is actually a perfectly reasonable card. 2-mana gain 4 would be really bad, but 2-mana gain 4 draw a card would be mediocre. 2-mana gain 4 draw a card plus, like a little bit of a tutory card draw, is pretty sweet. So Cram Session is nice as well. It's definitely one of the learn or the lesson cards. We're really going to be showing off that mechanic for our first flashback draft of the set. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Fractal Summoning. Let's just get a bunch of summonings and grab our learn spells really highly in future packs. Pick number 5 now. Pest Summoning's another reasonable lesson. Couple 1/1s. I don't think any of the non-sideboard cards are all that good. Yeah. Pick number 6 now. There's another Field Trip. We can go ahead and grab that for a way to grab one of these lessons and just have a bunch of 2-for-1s in our deck. Pick number 7, we've got the Quandrix Campus for Fixing. That looks like a pretty high pick. Or Arcane Subtraction is a perfectly reasonable way to learn a lesson. Not one of the really powerful ones, like a creature that learns when it enters, but still perfectly fine. Think I'd rather grab the Fixing over it. Got a lot of restrictive mana costs already. 2 double green cards, 2 double blue cards, although the Fractal Summoning's going to be really easy to cast if we're Quandrix, but Elemental Summoning, we're probably not playing green, blue, and red, so it's just going to be green, blue, and that's double blue. Pick number 8 now. It's weird going back to original Strixhaven after Secrets of Strixhaven, because I keep seeing this card and assuming it's the 4-mana 4/4 trample lifelink. It's not. It's just a different sloth. There's not really anything good in this pack for any deck. I guess Leyline Invocations filler top end if we run a million copies of Field Trip and we're super rampy. But I might just want to take Befuddler and get some early blockers because we're going to have plenty of late game lessons to cast to go big. Pick number 9 now. Letter of Acceptance, I suppose, in case we do any splashing. Certainly not a Silver Quill Campus. Pick number 10. That is another big difference between Secrets of Strixhaven and original Strixhaven. There's not really a 5-color deck in original Strixhaven, so don't go about just grabbing all 5 colors of duels and Letter of Acceptances and stuff. That's generally not going to be the greatest. There are still some 3-color decks, like you can pair Quandrix and Prismari well together in this set like you could in the new Strixhaven. But there's really no particular payoff for playing 5 colors in the set. There's no converging going on. I don't even think Spell Satchel is any good. Oh yeah, that's really bad. You have to cast Instants or Sorceries to get mana out of it. You draw a card every 3 Instants or Sorceries you cast. Yeah, I'll just Rare Draft Weather the Storm at that point. Okay. Could take some random black spells, I guess, because Witherbloom would be a possibility. We're deepest into green right now. And technically all these summonings are going to go into the sideboard, but I like to keep them in the deck for now so I can know how many lessons that I have that I can learn for while I'm drafting. Pack 2, pick 1, we got Paulo Vitor Damodorosa, World Champion. Very good card, but also we're not really going to be playing white. Cram Session looks fine, and Fractal Summoning look fine. These are both pretty sweet here. We currently have 4 lessons and 1, 2 learn spells. So let's grab a 3rd learn spell over a 5th lesson. Let's grab a Cram Session. Okay, pack 2, pick 2. Inquisition of Kozilek off the bonus sheet. That's pretty cool. We got anything for Quandrix? Not really. Kind of a miss for green-blue. Rise of Exodus was a really sweet learn spell for late game, because it's a removal spell plus draw a card, which is always really powerful. We'd have to go, if I splash some black in here, go like green, blue, black. It's possible. We got a couple hybrid black cards right now. I might speculate on that over anything else in this pack. Yeah, Lower Mage is pretty slow and also very color restrictive. Sure. Rise of Exodus there. Don't know if that's all that likely to get played, but there was just nothing on color anyway. Okay, 4 mana for a 4/3 and a 1/1 Pest is a pretty great deal. There's also Zamone. Can ramp up early, and then if you have 8 or more lands, you can start drawing... Oh, 2 cards a turn. You can already start drawing 1 card a turn for 4 mana tap. Yeah. Simone could be reasonable if we can protect her long enough. Professor of Zoomancy is the more guaranteed value because it happens right when it enters. Simone is like, if she manages to stick around a while. Kind of a long while. It is an expensive ability. I think I'm just going to go for Professor because, like, not only is it immediate value versus potential late game value, but it gives us more of a shot of maybe pivoting to Witherbloom here because we don't have that many blue spells. So we might even not have to play all 3 of these colors. Introduction to Annihilation, generally not a good spell to cast, because you are 2 for 1-ing yourself. You're spending 1 card to deal with one of your opponent's card, but then give them a card back. So it's not a good rate. But just having like 1 copy so that if you're ever really in a pinch when you draw your learn spell, say they have some bomb mythic and you have a learn spell but no removal, then you can get that backup removal. So I do like having 1 copy quite a lot. I think I take the first copy really highly. But I really only want to grab it when I'm very much in a pinch. Like if I don't kill the card, then I die kind of situation. Take a Witherbloom Campus here. Take a Leech Fanatic. Start going towards Witherbloom. I think I'd rather take the duel. Because our elemental summonings are like some of the best summoning lessons, so I really like our blue lessons the best. It's another introduction to Annihilation, but I think the second copy is much less important. Snakeskin Veil's fine. It might just be the pick here, sure. We do need to start getting some more actual main deck cards filling the deck out with something. Pick number 7. Oh, you could sack all your pests to draw extra cards with this. That's cute. But we don't have that many pests. The Moldering Karok. Another Letter of Acceptance for the Scourge Colony. We'll just take an on-color 2-drop. The Scourge Colony. Green is going to be our heaviest color by quite a lot. Here's another Letter of Acceptance to get this 3-color mana base working. Blood Researcher actually does look okay in here, I guess. I mean, better than a random combat trick, which we have 2 options of. I guess it doesn't look great. Really only have a little bit of life gain, but here's another life linker. Got a lot of filler spells in the main deck, but our Learn and Lesson package is very strong. So there's that. This final pack, we just need to fill the deck out with like 12 more random spells. Okay. Well, if anything, this draft is really going to show off the power of Learn and Lesson. Because the way that our deck looks, if you didn't know the Learn and Lesson mechanic, our deck looks awful. But I feel like this is actually a solid, reasonable deck here. Not like a 7-win or anything, but like a 4-3, maybe 5-3. With just the amount of Learn and Lessons we have going on. Manifestation Sage is really strong, and green is our deepest color by a lot. So what if we try to go just like mono green splash everything else, so we can get that quadruple green for this? Let's do it. It's the highest potential upside card here. Field Trip is also really nice, though, for this deck. But I'm slamming in that Manifestation Sage. Okay, what do we have here? Any learning? We've got a Divide by 0. That's an excellent way to learn. Huge tempo play. You return a spell or a permanent back to its owner's hand and you learn. It only bounces permanents with a mana value 1 or greater. I think the reason they did that is so that you can't kill all of the tokens that people are making off of their summonings. You can't kill like their 4/4 elemental token and learn a lesson, because that would be really good, but still a great, great card. Definitely splashing and Divide by 0. Okay, what do we have here? Environmental Sciences is a really good lesson. Being able to turn all your learn spells into a land when you need it. I really do need more actual spells in the main deck, though, because we're sitting on 3 lands, which means 17. I still need 6 more spells in the main deck, but Environmental Sciences is such a good addition to your lesson board that I'm going to take it anyway. And, you know, worst case scenario, we have some random cards that we could throw in that just aren't that good, like Umbral Juke, Novice Dissector. We have enough filler to complete our deck. We would just prefer to find better main deckable spells. All right, here's another one. Field Trip, great. We've got tons of lessons right now. Still looking for a bit more learn. Field Trip will add to that. Necrotic Fumes is a solid lesson, though. Exile one of your creatures to exile an opposing creature. Pretty nice because of the color it's in. In Witherbloom, you have those pest tokens to get rid of to use that. But I'm going to grab this Field Trip. Pick number 5. Wish this were an on-color duel, because that would just be a slam dunk pick. Should I really... Am I so deep on green I should take the 3-mana 2/4 over the little Flying Death Toucher? Probably not. It's probably the Flying Death Toucher. We are definitely Quandrix the most at this point, even with that Rise of Exodus. Yeah, I'll grab the Needlethorn Drake. Nothing here. Again, off-color duel, sadly. Well, just put something in the main deck. Coming in Waterfall Aerialist. Springmane Servant now. Leech Fanatic probably getting cut because we aren't deep enough in black to play a 2-mana black spell. Another Springmane Servant. Ooh, Eliminate, though, off the splash. I'd rather play an Eliminate off the splash. It's a removal spell, so we can wait to cast it till later, even if it is technically a 2-mana spell. Nonsense that we won't be playing. Well, we did it. This is 23 non-land cards. I definitely think I'll be editing the deck a little bit more from here, at least cutting like the Leech Fanatic for another green or blue filler card if we have one. Yeah, Cogwork Archivist over Leech Fanatic. This Rise of X is going to be pretty hard to cast, but I think it's worth running that over anything else. One of the really nice things about drafting lessons super highly is that if they're a reasonable enough deal and you don't get enough learn spells, you just shove them into the main deck to get to enough cards to get to your 23 non-land cards. Like if you're ever in a really bad position where you just drafted so many lessons that you didn't get 23 playables, then you're like, okay, well, I have 2 elemental summonings, so I'll put 1 in the main deck. That'll add to your playables. It's not the best, obviously, because lessons are a little bit understated for their costs, but it's really nice that they give you that backup plan. Just one of the really cool things, again, about the way that you can draft with learns and lessons. I think it makes for a really interesting format that I enjoy quite a bit. All right, well, I think we can just run the deck as is now. We made that final adjustment there, and now we've got a fine, reasonable, average-looking 3-color pile for the original Strixhaven format. Again, looks a little all over the place, but the power of the learn and the lessons here I think is going to help us quite a bit to make this quite a reasonable deck, but I guess we'll find out for sure in a bit. For now, let's adjust that mana base a little bit more. This is a lot of swamps for a deck with a quadruple Quandrix card, so I definitely disagree with the mana base here. We've only got 1 card that needs more than 1 black mana, so I'm going to go really low on the black and get higher on the green and blue. Probably really just the green, get super high on that. 15 green cards, 6 black, 5 blue, yeah. I'm just going to go for a bajillion green sources and then a bit of black and blue. Call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, and let's see how far this one can take us. All right, here we are with an excellent opening hand for game 1. We have all 3 of our colors. We've got a Death Toucher to drop down turn 2 to defend ourselves. We've got a Mana Rock as well. And we've got some interaction with that Divide by 0. That's going to put us up a card by being a learn spell. It's the Overgrown Arch from our opponent. Very good card. Just sack it to learn later, and in the early game, you just defend yourself quite a while. Let's just set up our mana for now. I'm not really under any pressure from that 0/4. So thanks to the Archway Commons, we actually have just every single spell in the whole deck is already castable. Once we put our lands onto the board, color-wise, every spell in the whole deck is castable now. We could play the Needlethorn Drake and just have the Death Toucher up for the Troll. That seems fine to me, because then we can get the next tap land out of the way. Got 2 learn spells now. Cram Session isn't exactly a 2-for-1, though. Gaining 4 life doesn't really count as a whole card of value, but Divide by 0 kind of is. Getting that huge tempo plus learn. There's Dina, Soul Steeper. So every time they gain life, we lose a life now. And the Honor Trolls, whenever they gain life, they gain an additional life. If they get to 25 or more, it's going to be even beefier, but still just run right into the Needlethorn Drake. Cogwork Archivist is the draw. Okay, so we can go Letter of Acceptance and Cram Session here. I'm not sure what we want to grab right now, though. Got a lot of options. Probably just an Elemental Summoning. Can save the Fractal Summoning for when we actually have more than like 6 mana. At 6 mana, Fractal Summoning is still just a 4/4, so might as well just grab the 4/4 thing and tutor out Fractal Summoning as like the last lesson we grab when it's as big as possible, maybe like a 10/10 by then, hopefully. So one thing to note about lessons, well, learn spells that I forgot to bring up during the draft because it's not usually that relevant. Worst case scenario, learn spells still do something. You can discard a card and draw a card instead of grabbing a lesson from your sideboard. Whenever you have a reasonable lesson in the sideboard at all, it's always better to grab that because then you're straight up a card. But there are some positions, maybe you run out of lessons in the sideboard, or you really need removal and there's no lessons to tutor for, where you can instead just like discard a land, draw a card. Augmenter Pugilist. That's going to become an 8/8 later in the game. An 8/8 trample. Okay. So that will be a problem later, but not until they have 8 or more lands and they're still stuck on 4 at this point. So we're chilling. Could just drop an elemental summoning and pass. I think that's reasonable. Playing Cogwork Archivist is more mana efficient, but it's also playing my best creature out before they've cast a single removal spell yet, which isn't something that I think I need to do when we're not under much pressure. We can play this out really slowly and try to grab removal with our other creatures first. I'll be under immense pressure once they hit the 8th land, but until then, we're chilling. They need 2 removal spells to get in. Hunt for Specimens is an excellent learn spell. It's going to grab a Pest Summoning for even more 1/1s. Should get an army of 1/1s here, sure. It's pretty good for Dina. Dina can sack those and get a bunch of extra power and threaten a lot more damage than normal. Play Scourge Colony and Waterfall Aerialists. They don't have any reach creatures, so the Aerialist is going to start putting the pressure on them and forcing them to do something to change the course of this game. Probably just want to get a life gain trigger here, I suppose. They might have some death touch trick or something. Okay, just sack it, draw 2. Sure. It's a Rise of Extus for us. That's a pretty good one. They're on 6 out of 8 mana, but the Pugilist is still going to be the scariest card they have by quite a lot, so I think I am just going to Rise of Extus here. The Pugilist, even if it's not the scariest yet. Oh, and we get to exile a card from their grave. I forgot about that, too. I don't think that's going to be that relevant. What would be the scariest card? Probably Hunt for Specimens. Maybe Village Rites. Ooh, Dina's actually kind of sweet here. They can sack Dina to make sure we don't get to learn a lesson. So this is just a 1/1 removal spell instead of a 2/1. It's probably worth getting the Pugilist out of here. Oh, wait, no, because it targets a card in grave, it can't be countered by doing that because I'm still targeting a card. So it still resolves. Oh, that's so sick. Thank you, Rise of Extus. Very cool. Let's just grab another elemental summoning and save that fractal summoning for the divide by 0. We've got removal spells we can grab with divide by 0 if we need to as well. Lash of Malice plus pay the ward, fair enough. Witherbloom Apprentice is the play. Every time they cast or copy an instant or sorcery, we get drained for another life. So they're just going to keep doing all these life gain drains against us. Pinging us over time. It's another land. That is land number 7. Scourge Colony is almost a 4/4, but not yet. Let's just play another elemental summoning. And the Archway Commons. I feel like now that I have the extra blocker, trading a 4/4 into a 4/4 is really not that bad, because theirs has abilities and ours doesn't. They could chump with the Arch and then learn their lesson, but then they don't have the life gain trigger going every turn with Dina. Take the damage, makes sense. They've got a lot of life over there. It is possible we're still supposed to hold back. Just because one turn of like a couple good removal spells is going to do a lot of damage to us. Flunk. -5, -5. Yep. Yeah, if they have a second removal spell here, this is pretty bad. If they kill the Needlethorn Drake. Grab their lesson, just to scry 2, draw 1. Well, that's triggering their apprentice and their Dina. Scry 1 at the top, they like what they see, which is not good for us. Alright. Gnarled Professor is a pretty excellent draw. We are kind of just going to die to Dina with Witherbloom Apprentice and Honor Troll, so do I have to grab the really mediocre removal here? This might be a spot I'm supposed to like divide by 0 the Honor Troll and then grab the introduction removal spell to cast on Dina or the Witherbloom Apprentice. But I guess they're not gaining a life every turn anymore. So they're not getting that Dina ping, but the Witherbloom Apprentice pings are still going on. Dina and Witherbloom Apprentice are both an issue. I think I'm gonna annihilate the Apprentice. Sacking it would be really bad for them here. So just let this resolve, draw a card. Yep. They highlighted Dina for a second, but then they were like, oh, wait a moment. I should not sack this card. Well, they're quite a bit ahead on cards here, which is not good. Blood Researcher. It gets bigger every time they're gaining life. And then a full-on removal spell on the 2/2 to poke us for 2. Right before I got my 8th land. Don't have the mana to do both of these things. Play 1 and then sack the Letter of Acceptance to draw a card. Seems fine. Stomach is angry at me. Honor Troll. Pass. Eliminates a sweet one. Let's just get a big old idiot here. Fractal summoning. Eliminate the Blood Researcher, probably. Based on mana value, so we don't have to eliminate it until it's going to be attacking us. It can get as big as it wants. It'll always be mana value 3. Can start setting up the bottom of our library. I think Rise of Exodus is our best card. Okay. What do I want to eliminate here? I think I can just hold on to it. Field Trip. Yeah, let's hold off on Fractal Summoning for a turn and just go Field Trip. Field Trip for a couple pests, and I still have Eliminate up at that point. This looks good to me. Yeah, I've got double Archway Commons. I don't really need to worry about Auto Tapper. It's going to leave me the mana I need. Can't eliminate and activate Archivist in the same turn, but that's fine. Alright. I feel like it was only 2 seconds ago I was saying it looked like we were not favored, but here we are. I think I am favored now, even at the gigantic life total discrepancy. The Archivist just chilling. Make an 8/8. I think I have enough blockers now to not have eliminated up for just a single turn. That'll be fine. They probably just have removal for this, but it's okay. I get to keep everybody else up. It's been a revealed Fractal Summoning for several turns, so obviously if they drew removal, they'd want to save it for the 8/8. Leech Fanatic, sure. Alright, we're vibing. We're simply going bigger than they are. We both have the same number of lands as well. We did tutor for 1 or 2 of them with a field trip, so they're a tiny bit more flooded than us, I think. Callous Blood Mage. They can exile our graveyard or draw a card or get a pest. Okay. Draw a card is the choice. They'll let the Archivist keep chilling. Archivist makes it so if it's going to be a really long game that comes down to mill, then we do win, but I don't think that'll be the case because they've got enough life drain to... With us at 11, I don't think the game's going to last so long that they mill out. But, I mean, we've got the Eliminate for the Apprentice, so that's a thing. It's our best card now. Waterfall Aerialist? No shot. It's probably Fractal Summoning with this much mana. Do I want to eliminate the Witherbloom Apprentice? right now. And we could just go for a scry. Scry land at the bottom. I've got a big X mana spell. I'm not going to scry in my upkeep. Okay, didn't work out. That's fine. They could try to gain a life at instant speed as kind of a trick here to have the Blood Researcher kill the 4/4, but then I've got the Eliminate anyway. The amount of life they've gained this game, I wouldn't be surprised if we've technically dealt 20 damage by the end of this turn. Cool. Okay, I might want to kill Witherbloom Apprentice before I pass, because every spell they have is going to hit us for 2 when they have Apprentice and Dina out. But that Blood Researcher's a problem too. Being able to kill that and still attack with the 4/4 is something. I'll hold. I'll hold. We're at 11. They have to cast 6 instants or sorceries to kill us with Dina. We'll just take some hits. There's a 5/4. There's really just elemental summonings at this point? That would be crazy. Now let's get a flyer. Really don't want to have to eliminate a Bayou Groff, but maybe that'll be the play. They go for like a double block and then we eliminate. Okay. One-for-one trade is fine. Because I have to get through the Groff and the Blood Researcher. Okay, so I didn't actually shuffle in the Fractal Summoning. Okay, they're scooping anyway. This is going to be a long game that we're favored in, and they'll mill out first if it comes to that, so they are just so over it, which is fair enough. Original Strixhaven can have some really long games. Secrets of Strixhaven can too, with like the 5-color mirrors, but I think there's a lot more, you know, there's like 2-color decks facing each other in original Strixhaven where the games can go really long too. So super long, almost half-hour long first game of Magic, but we do win in the end. That is 1-0 heading into game 2. All right, here we are on the draw for game number 2. So for against an aggressive deck, that would be pretty scary. There are aggressive decks in original Strixhaven. They're not as fast as the ones in Secrets of Strixhaven, but there are definitely aggressive Silver Quill strategies as the best aggro decks. Lorehold was a little funky. The color balance in original Strixhaven was a little bit worse. Okay. Just run out a letter and see if they want to counter that. Playing against pure Prismari right now, and they start with Waterfall Aerialist. Eliminate does not kill it. That is too high mana value to shoot with Eliminate. So we're just going to be racing it with our 4/3 for now, I guess. Could divide it next turn to slow them down. Pigment Storm, well, that's what Snakeskin Veil's for. 1 mana to counter their 5 mana card, always an excellent deal. Draw that charge through. We do have some filler in this deck, and there it is. Alright, I really don't mind just dividing by 0 here and picking up a 4/4 to cast next turn. Because next turn we'll have 7 mana. Technically, if I take Fractal Summoning, I make a 5/5 instead of a 4/4, but Rather just save it for one of my other learn spells to draw later in the game. I probably should have just cast Charge through there. Doubt the Trampler's going to be that relevant. Just draw a card. Okay, so they're just going to save up a counterspell to counter Elemental Summoning here. I think I'd rather they counter Elemental Summoning than Field Trip, so I'll probably just still cast it. Ooh, they got a just instant speed removal instead. Heated Debate. 4 damage. If I had a combat trick here, I could save it, but I do not. Sure. Apologies, let me mute my phone. I really got to get into the habit of doing that. This is like technically work. Shouldn't be getting text messages. Go to 13. 1 and a blue to counter an elemental summoning. I mean, maybe it's possible. Let's see. I don't remember the set well enough. Okay, no, it resolves. Now I'm holding on to charge through because I'm scared that they still had priority there, and I don't want to charge through and have them kill whatever I'm targeting, and then I don't even draw a card. Just pretend charge through's a mulligan, it'll be fine. Force comes into play tapped, right? Dang, I am 1 mana off from casting my next elemental summoning after a field trip. I can put it in my hand, but then I've got 4 out of 5 mana. Just a full control Prismari build, all removal. Yep, burying books, you got it. Basically another heated debate. Kill that. Here is field trip. Grab a forest. Grab an elemental summoning. Here's a field trip. Grab a forest. Grab a fractal summoning. And let's see if they want to bounce my pest. Nice, we actually draw the card. Wormhole Serpent 3/5 over there. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make an 8/8 and hope they don't kill it. Or make 2 creatures, but neither are big enough to attack through a 3/5 anyway. Alright. So they need another bounce spell like a Burying Books or something. Ogyar Battleseer 3/4. Not big enough to stop an 8/8 yet, but they're getting there. They're on their way. Put them to 4 if they don't chump. It's actually so good. Go to 4 it is. Elemental Summoning. Springmate Servant. And I'll play this land rather than holding up an Eliminate when none of their creatures are small enough for Eliminate right now anyway. Concession from our opponent. Man, the random 4/4s and XXs off of the lessons don't look like much, but they can absolutely get there when you're getting there off 2-for-1s with like field trips and stuff. 2-0 it is, heading into game 3. Alright, here we are on the draw for game 3. Double Letter of Acceptance. This is a mana-heavy hand, but Gnarled Professor, I don't really care what the rest of the hand looks like. It's going to be a good hand. Uh-oh. Speaking of a good hand. Our deck's pretty light on removal, and Dragon's Guard Elite gets really big really fast. Gets a +1/+1 counter when they cast anything. Weirdly enough, I kind of want Environmental Sciences here. No, because next turn, let's see, I have 3 mana. I go land, Letter of Acceptance. Then I have 4 mana the turn after. I can already play Professor and Karok and stuff. Yeah, I should probably just grab a Elemental Summoning. Oh boy. Let's just pray we can draw our Eliminate. Our Eliminate is our best draw here. I suppose what we could have done is we could have cram sessioned for pest summoning and then gnarled professor for the removal spell that makes us exile a pest. But I just figured I'll just gnarled professor for the removal spell that lets them draw a card at this rate. Dragon's Guard Elite is worth that. And that'll also curve perfectly, right? 4 mana for gnarled professor, 5 mana for that exile removal. That's a very awkward land to draw, because technically it's a double tapped land, which means I can't play Gnarled Professor and that land next turn. So if I don't draw another land, I can't play a land next turn. Even if it were just like a campus, like a single tapped land, that would have been fine. But it is awkward here. Archway Commons, I don't recommend it unless you've got a really rocky mana base. I think this deck has a awkward enough mana base to justify it. But generally speaking, try to avoid the Archway Commons for situations like this. Being a double tap land is a very, very severe penalty. Okay. Luckily we drew an untapped land. So this is pretty bad. They've got a Cultivator and a Zamone now too. Worst case scenario, Zamone's going to keep drawing them a bunch of cards. What happens if I letter here? I can go letter and Servant and have a ton of mana next turn. No, we just gnarled Professor. Find the Introduction to Annihilation. And we've got the 5/4 blocker for the rest of their creatures, for their 3/4 and their 1/2. Biomathematician, a 2/2 and a 1/1. Double major. That's very spicy with the Biomathematician, because they both put a +1/+1 counter on all their fractals. So the first fractal is going to be a 2/2 now. And then they also get a 1/1. That's really nice. This is pretty bad. If I spend next turn tapping out to kill Dragon's Guard Elite, that's not great. I'll just take the trade here before it gets any bigger. Can play Letter of Acceptance and Blood Researcher if I don't play a land this turn. Or if I want to play land this turn, I play a 5-drop. I mean, playing a 4/4 holds off all their creatures. And they just start drawing cards off Zamone for now. If I introduction Zamone, so they just draw 1 card, I take 3, 5, 7, 9, 10 damage. Okay. Yeah. Oh, if I elemental summoning, I don't get to play the commons either. Yeah, this Archway Commons is so bad in this hand. It'd have to be Molder and Karok if I want to play land this turn. Yeah. Then the Cultivator can still get in. But now they really can't attack with anybody else because the life totals would be super not worth it. I'd kill one of their creatures and gain another 3 if they attack with everybody. Elemental Masterpiece for 2 4/4s. Elemental Masterpiece, I think, is really good against our deck. Because most of our beefiest creatures are also our 4/4 elementals that we're like getting as 1/1s. Think we have met our match here. Wow, no creatures in the top 6. Rough. Jesus. Trade a Karok into a 4/4. Now we've got a 4/4. Simone's gonna be popping off now. Well, they have 8 lands too, so they're drawing 2 cards every turn with Simone. Oh boy. I can't afford to just Introduction to Annihilation Simone. They respond by drawing 2 cards immediately, and then they draw a 3rd card when she dies. Then I only have 2 blockers, so I block a 4/4 and a 3/4, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go to 6. I feel like I have to play to the board and just play Manifestation Sage. When we can't possibly get out of this, though, if they're drawing 2 extra cards every single turn. But I also don't see how I can get out of this if they draw 3 cards right now and I don't play more blockers. If we're going to have any chance in the long run, I think we need to kill Simone immediately. We're playing for our, like, 0.1% chance of victory at this point. Let's take some damage. Quandrix Pledge Mage gets bigger every time they cast an instant or sorcery. Golden Ratio, draw a few cards, okay. God, I forgot how long some of these games can go. Oh, thank God. They found removal for our 4/4, so this should wrap up pretty quickly. Go to 5. Can eliminate the Pledge Mage. Couple 2/2s for a couple there. 2/2s take 4 damage. Okay, yeah, that's super dead. That's a really strong rare. I love this card. They get a 4/4 draw card and bounce one of our cards. Alright, that was a really strong deck from that opponent, and that is going to knock us out of our undefeated streak. We are now 2-1, heading into game number 4. Alright, here we are on the draw for game number 4. Playing against the black deck. Ooh, could we be on Silver Quill once? Get a little change of pace here. Hey! Oh, but they don't have a 2-drop. So not that aggressive. I was really hoping they would so I could befuddle it when it attacks him. But maybe we'll just eliminate it. No 3-drop either. Okay, nothing to eliminate. Pretty slow. Maybe I should have just befuddled and started poking for 2. Rather than trying to get tricksy with this thing as a blocker. Just doesn't trigger that often. Shadewing Laureate. When the other flyers die, it gets bigger. Yeah, let's divide that. Grab Elemental Summoning for turn 4. Then I'm going to go for the untapped land here so I can correct my previous mistake and actually just play this as a 2-1. Not try to do my stupid -1/-0. Like, I just don't think that's going to matter. I actually don't even have the second blue for this Elemental Summoning yet. That's a little bit awkward. So we can go Servant and tap land here. I just did not see any world where we were going to be the aggro player against Silver Quill, but that kind of is the world, and I missed out on like 4 points of damage, because I wasn't thinking of that. Where to blue, though? Trade a Snakeskin Veil for a Mage Hunter. Sure. They could just not block, because obviously I have something here, and that's fine too. Then I can save Snakeskin Veil for when they have removal. Combat Professor is a really sick card. I forgot that card existed. Love that card when I'm trying to be something at least moderately aggressive. 4 mana, 2/3 flyer. It gives something +1/+0 and vigilance every single turn. So, like, single-handedly, it plays like a 4 mana, 3/3 flying vigilance, which is already a really solid stat line in this format. Another swamp. Get out of here. Draw for turn. Blood Researcher. Better than nothing. They've got an instant of some kind here, so I'm not going to try to do the cheeky Veil attack. We'll just pass. Uh-oh. Bunch of flyers. Taking 5 damage in the sky every turn. It's not good. It's a 3-turn clock from here. Pest Summoning. Well, we drew our 1 reach creature and we have the Snakeskin Veil to defend it. So that's pretty sweet. Take a Mage Hunter ping to keep that around. And it'll be a top deck war from there. Blue. Good enough. And this is actually better than destroying an island, so we'll take it. Could spend 4 mana in Scry and still have 4 mana up, so I'd still have enough for anything Gnarled Professor or cheaper, which is all but 2 cards in our deck. Unfortunately, they have another removal spell. Well, might just die in the sky here. Let's see. Another flyer. Stop flying. Please. Chase Through is not what we need. Nor is Moldering Karok. We die in the sky, and that'll do it. 2-2, heading into game number 5. Alright, here we are for game number 5. Slow hand, but we're on the play. We start with turn 3 Field Trip to guarantee we can cast pretty much the rest of the hand. It's a Letter of Acceptance as well. It's always a little bit awkward when all of your mana ramp is at the same mana value. Play like one of these on turn 2, one on turn 3, that'd be super sick. But also then Field Trip would be a really busted card if it only costs 2. Okay, let's... I've got the commons here, so I can Field Trip here. I don't need a specific color. But I won't be able to cast the Elemental Summoning until I play the Letter of Acceptance too, but that's okay. I got plenty of other creatures to play first. Cool. We can go commons and letter instead. Lorehold deck with still nothing. Well, I can only cast 1 card here. Feels better to play Professor than Summoning. Because then even if they have a removal spell for it, we still get a Pest. I'm 1 land away from just going double Karok. But I can also sack the Letter of Acceptance and draw a card here and still have 6 mana, which is enough for everything. Which is not enough to double spell. I don't think I'm going to sack the letter. Because currently a top deck basic is really good. If I keep letter on board. Okay, Servan. Well, I can still double spell with that, so that's fine. Study break, tap a couple creatures, and learn a lesson. They learn an Inkling Summoning, which is the great one for the aggressive strategies, because flying plays super well in the set. One thing that's really nice about Study Break 2 is it's like tap up to 2 creatures. So you can just cast it turn 2 even if they don't have anything on board during their end steps. That next turn you go untap, play a flyer. They might be under too much pressure to try to be swinging with this flyer right now. Guiding Voice for Expanded Anatomy, another one of the aggro lessons. Use that to buff up the flyer and really get racing. But we got some lifelink over here, so we'll be fine. Pupil can move its counters onto this flyer, which will be a little scary, but again, I think we've got good plans to race the opponent here. One more power lifelink. I don't think it's Archivist yet, because they've got that introduction. If they spend the turn on introduction, that's really bad for them, though. Maybe it is. Yeah, this does make it so a land is a double spell of these two. This is probably Expanded Anatomy. And Jam. Pillar Drop Rescuer. Pick up Star Pupil, replay it. It's cute. Okay. I don't mind that. I think Expanded Anatomy might have been scarier to me. Chump with the Star Pupil. Alright, if we draw into any way to learn a lesson, I think we've got this on lock. We just grab one of our removal spell lessons to kill that flyer and we're golden. We've only drawn one learn spell so far, so we still have quite a few. Cram Session, Divide by Zero, a Field Trip, Gnarled Professor, Rise of Extus. So we've got 5 very deadly draws. Force is not one of them, but we've still got Letter of Acceptance to draw with. Waterfall Aerialist is not one of them either, but it's not terrible. I don't think any of these are particularly good draws late in the game, so I don't even know if I use Cogwork Archivist here. Maybe on a field trip. Since we still have plenty of lessons in the sideboard. But by the time I would draw it, we'd be running out of them, even if I like shuffle it away by playing another field trip. Expanded Anatomy, the Pillar Drop Rescuer. Then a Show of Confidence for a counter on both. Make them big enough to attack past the Archivist. Both Vigilance this turn too. They pass through though because we have double blocks right now. Yeah. I'll put a field trip in. So now they kill the Archivist to be able to attack in the sky. Unless they've got other spells still. Draw a Letter of Acceptance. Big, bold attack. Go for it. Gain 6 on the crackback so they don't kill us that fast here. Oof, Divide by Zeros. Crazy here. It's lethal if they don't have anything. Let's go for it. And then I just draw a removal spell so that even if they do survive, we clear out one of their flyers to be fine. They do have one removal spell. That's still lethal, though. Yeah, still lethal. Even if they killed the 4-power creature. Wow. All right. So they were dead to any learn spell. It didn't even have to be divide by 0 then, because any learn spell we could have picked up the removal and then killed the one blocker and just flunged it in. Nice. Great stuff. We are now 3-2, at least a 50-50 record for our return to the original Strixhaven, which I'll take for this deck. A lot of the main deck cards are pretty filler. We just got a really good learn and lesson package, and again, this draft has just shown off the power of having that. All right, here we are for game number 6. I will keep this hand, even though I don't get to play the Karok till I have Letter of Acceptance down. It's technically got all my colors. Playing against green, black. Let's cram session. The best lesson to take early elemental summoning. Well, when you've got like mana rocks to play turn 3. I guess if we didn't have a mana rock to play turn 3, we could just grab a pest summoning or something. Charge through is literally just to draw a card in this deck. I do not care about the trample. It's just our 23rd filler card. Double Blood Researcher is scary. Once they start gaining life, they're going to be beefing up multiple creatures. Okay. Umbral Juke. Removal spell on our 4/4. Go down 18. Find Springmane Servant. Could play 2/3 drops, but don't have the mana. I've got 6 right now. Let's play a 4-drop and then double spell next turn, a 4 and a 3 for all 7 of our mana. I mean, double creature and like 5 removal spells is definitely a winning hand. Let's see. Demonic Tutor for the Mystical Archive. Dang. That's some spice. Draw the best card in their whole deck here. Play a Springmane Servant to buff both the Blood Researchers. It's really bad. Go to 8. There we go. Eliminate is a great draw. I'm going to cast it now just to play around Snakeskin Veil. Witherbloom Apprentice, that's terrifying. Every time they cast an instant or sorcery, they drain us for life, which also buffs the Blood Researcher. Yep, there's the drain, the Blood Researcher buff, and 2 pest tokens. Real bad. What do we draw? Rise of Exodus could still get there, that's about it. Oh, we don't have double black, never mind. No! If it's any consolation, I would not have drawn it if I hadn't sacked the letter. I would have drawn this forest and then died. So I could go block there, take 5, or I could double block there, take 4. I guess I go to 1 if they have absolutely nothing in their hand. If I don't sack letter. Yeah, I think it was correct to sack the letter, but we're dead. Like, unless we somehow survive this turn, then I'd be at 1 life with a Rise of Exodus. Like, that wouldn't do it. Because I would lose my whole board. Yeah, that's the only way I survive, is if I double block Blood Researcher, lose my entire board, and then 1 Rise of Exodus at 1 life doesn't save me. So yeah, we couldn't have not died that turn, unless we played the early turns much differently. But even those early turns, we just never had removal or 2 blockers. At least never had 2 blockers in like a profitable way. Alright. That'll do it. 3-3, an average return to the original Strixhaven set, but I think that was a good showing of what this format is like. There's a lot of really slow, really long games. There's a lot of learn and lesson value going on trying to win those long games of Magic. This is the example of a perfectly average, mediocre Strixhaven deck when you don't get any like super, super powerful spells in the main deck. I mean, the Gnarled Professor is really, really strong, but there's a whole lot of filler in here. I guess Manifestation Sage is generally pretty good too, but most of our power is just learning lesson spells. There's a lot of filler stuff like Befuddlers and Spring Main Servants and stuff like that, but you can really get there with the set's very unique mechanic. But that'll do it, 3 and 3 for today's draft. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.